Hello you guys, this is Rebecca out here at Keystone RV Center. I'm doing another demo video for a customer. They've actually already picked their Shamrock up, but I was going to do a video on a Shamrock anyway, so I thought I'd go ahead and do another video for them, just to kind of go over the demo that we already had the day that they picked up. It's a good way to reference the video in case you've forgotten something during the demo. So that's the walkthrough that we're going to do. The only thing I'm not going to be able to do is pull the beds down and back up, because I'm filming this by myself and it's hard to hold the camera and video while you're doing the beds. If I had somebody else here with me, I'd be more than happy to show you, but I will walk through it. So up here, the first thing we're going to come to, of course, is the electric tongue jack. Up is up, down is down. It has a light. This is the override. If the motor fails for any reason, pop this right off. You have the tool inside that will crank this up and down if you happen to lose power. Right here, you have two 20-pound bottles. Both of these bottles are good for 10 years. Because they're 20-pound bottles, most of the time, when you go to get them filled, the place is going to want to exchange. My advice is to always just get them filled versus exchanging them. The people that are exchanging them, it's their job to give you their oldest bottle. So you could be giving them a bottle that's only a year old and they're giving you an 8-year-old bottle. So just something to think about. One of the things I always like to tell people is about these propane bottles. When you go to turn these on, they are designed to be all the way on or all the way off. When you open these, do it slowly. Don't come out here and just do it quickly, because it has a safety mechanism in it. If you do it too fast, it sort of thinks it was in an accident and will shut down, and then it has to reset itself. So when you open these, do it slowly and then turn it on all the way. In this case, you have an automatic switchover. The little notch here is letting you know it's drawing off of this propane bottle. If this one runs empty, this will automatically flip over, which way? That way. Flip over that way and draw off of this one if it's open. If this is closed, this will simply turn red like it is now, letting you know it's empty, and then you know that this one's got to be filled. Then you can turn this one on, flip this back over here to this, and you're good to go. But a lot of people will leave both of them open if they're going to be running their furnace at night. You don't want to be the heat shutting off on you at 2 o'clock in the morning. You have to come outside and turn your propane back on. But just pay attention to how much propane you're using, I guess. So behind here, we're always going to put an interstate battery in this battery box. Now here at our dealership, travel trailers get 1 interstate battery, fifth wheels get 2. The interstate batteries that we use are the marine grade batteries. It is something that you'll have to check the water levels in. It's real easy, just pop the tops on them. If you don't see water, some distilled water is all it takes. So that's just something that you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on. Make sure the water didn't run out of it. Also, it has a 1-year warranty on it through Interstate. It has nothing to do with Flagstaff or Forest River. We're the ones that put that on. So any Interstate dealer would be able to exchange it for you if anything were to go wrong with it. Right below here, it's kind of hidden there, but right underneath there is a battery disconnect. So when it's in storage, it's always advised to just go ahead and turn that off. Shut the power down coming in and going out of the battery. Just kind of save on the battery a little bit. One of the perks to this one, in particular, Flagstaff, is that it has a either a 190 or a 200 watt solar panel on the roof. It will provide a little bit of a trickle charge. Having said that, don't expect too much out of your solar panel. A lot of people overestimate what those solar panels can do. It will throw a trickle charge onto your battery, but if you're running your 12-volt refrigerator and you've got all your lights on, you've got fans running, things like that that will run on the battery, if all that stuff's running, the solar panel is not going to be able to keep up with the power that the battery is using. All right, just keep that in mind. Whenever you can, shut lights off. Keep it at a minimum if you're boondocking. I know it sounds like common sense, but you'd be surprised how uncommon common sense can be. So just moving around here, you have a storage compartment. It's held up here by a magnet. And then, of course, you've got your storage in there. There's some stuff, you know, that goes along with the camper in there. Over here, we've got your 6-gallon water heater. There's really not a whole lot for you to do here. One of the things I always recommend is before you turn the electric part of your water heater on, which you can do from inside, you're going to pull the relief valve. This is going to take the pressure off of it, but it's also going to let you know that there is water in there. That heating element for the electric is going to come on whether there's water in there or not. If it comes on when there's no water in it, you burn up your heating element. Something to keep in mind. Just always check that prior to turning it on. If you go to use your hot water and you don't have any, come out here and check this. If these two things right here are bubbled out, then that means you probably had a power surge and it popped your breaker, essentially. You just come out here, push those back in. You'll feel the little knobs in there. Push them back in and it will reset your water heater. The last thing is this right here. That right there is an anode rod. All of the impurities in the water will eat away at that rod instead of your water heater. So it is a sacrificial piece. It's something that you'll have to replace probably about once a year. It all depends on how much you leave water just sitting in your water heater. My advice would be when you're not using the camper and you're going to be weeks before you use it again, just drain it, get the water out of there. That way it doesn't just sit in there and eat away at that rod. Also, the water will get stagnant in there, of course, in the summertime more so, and it'll get a real funky smell to it. Just drain it, or at the very least, run the hot water side of one of your faucets to get the water out of there at the end of your trip. Please be sure to bypass this water heater for winterization. You don't want to get 6 gallons of antifreeze in your water heater. It's hard to get out, and that's a lot. That's 6 gallons that you don't need to put in there. Just drain it, leave the anode rod out, and bypass it. That way, when you do winterize, the antifreeze bypasses right on past the water heater and just goes to your lines. Right next to that is your fresh water tank. You're just going to uncap it. You're going to put a hose in there and fill it up. The advice that we always give is don't wait until water's squirting out of here. This is an overflow. This is letting you know, hey, there's too much water in here and it's coming out. The reason being is because we are now finding out that one of the things that's been happening is if you overfill the freshwater tank, that plastic tank bows, and the weight of the water is going to break the strap that's holding that tank in, and then that tank ends up on the ground. It's recommended that you put your hose in there as you're filling it up, go inside, and periodically check to see how full your fresh tank is getting. Your monitor panel will let you know how full it is. Once it hits full, turn it off, and that's it. Another thing that people don't know, that I just recently found out myself, is people do not like this. They hate it and they're mad about it, but you are not supposed to travel with water in your fresh tank, even if you plan on going boondocking. The manufacturer has said, not just Forest River, Thor, Forest River, all of them are saying not to travel with water in your fresh tank. If anything were to happen and you have water in your fresh tank and it happens to fall out, warranty's not going to cover it. The manufacturer will not cover it because they are saying do not travel with water. If you want to travel with a gallon, maybe 2 at the most, just for purposes of pulling over on the side of the road to use the bathroom, washing your hands, something to that effect, that's fine. But to travel with a full fresh tank of water will void your warranty if anything happens. They will not cover it. They're saying it's because of the weight of the water, and also there's no baffle in that fresh tank. So that water is sloshing around in that fresh tank, and it really is causing a whole lot of extra movement. I know a lot of people travel with the full fresh tank and they've never had a problem with it before, but the simple fact is if you do and something happens, you're on your own on that one. You'll have to pay for that. The suggestion would be travel until you can get as close as you can to a place that you know you're not going to have access to water. Most state parks are going to have a fill station, but occasionally people will go out to a field or something, going to a party in the middle of nowhere and there is no water. As you're traveling, if you're a few miles away from your destination, you can throw some water in there. Then at that point, most of the truck stops now have a water fill station. If you travel down the highway and you see the advertisement for a truck stop, if it has a little picture of a camper, that means that they have a dump station there and they also have a place that you can fill your potable water. So that's the suggestion. Wait until you're really close to where you're going. Otherwise, you're just going to bring water with you, not in your tank. Inconvenient, but that's what they're telling us, and I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. This is what they're telling us, okay? So moving around, on the Shamrocks, all Flagstaff actually, you're going to have a TPMS system, a tire monitoring system. It's going to let you know how much pressure is in each one of your tires. It's a wireless screen that we will set up here for you. And that's what the green tab with the little picture on it, that's what that means. It means it has a sensor in the tire. In this case, it's usually on the opposite side of the tab here. So somewhere over here it's in the band. All right. Outside shower. It's got hot and cold running water. Down here is the fun stuff. So you have a black handle over here and you have the gray one over there. Black handle is your toilet. The gray handle is your sinks and your shower. The way they want you to do this is, of course, you're going to uncap it, hook your sewer hose up, put the other end down to the ground. When you dump, you're going to pull your black handle first, and then you're going to rinse the sewer hose out with the gray. Remember, these black tanks, these anyway, have a black tank flush on them. When you're done dumping your black tank, if you want to hook up to the black tank flush, and I'll show you where that is, if you're going to hook up your black tank flush, remember to leave that valve open. The black tank will build up a lot of pressure if you leave it shut, and it could very well shoot out the vent on your roof, which is not fun. But also, if you fill it all the way up and you're not paying attention, it could come right out your toilet and all over the floor. That has been happening a lot. People want to fill up that black tank with a bunch of fresh water and then do one big dump, and that sounds like a really good idea, except you don't know how full it's actually getting, and then it comes out of the toilet. If you get distracted at all, it's going to fill up and it's going to come out. So, moral of the story, leave the black valve open when you're using the black tank flush. Also, these black tanks, you're supposed to be using toilet treatment. The toilet treatment is going to break everything solid down to liquid, including the toilet paper. It's also going to help to deodorize your tank. That toilet treatment is not going to do you any good if you leave that valve open and hooked to sewer. A lot of people will do this. They'll go to a campsite, they'll get sewer on site, and let me tell you, if you can get sewer on site, do that. But they'll hook their sewer hose up, put the other end down to the ground, and then open the valves. In your mind, everything's just going to go straight into the sewer. You don't have to worry about dumping your tanks. The problem is that's not really what's happening. The only thing going through that sewer hose is liquid. Everything solid is staying behind and drying to the bottom of your tank. When it comes to the black tank, that toilet treatment that you're putting in there, it needs liquid to activate and to work right. It makes sense if you think about it. So please, leave the valve shut. You can go ahead and hook your sewer hose up if you want to. Just leave the valve shut until it's time to dump. 2/3 seems to be the best spot. That's when the levels, there's enough gravity to push it clean. These are gravity-fed tanks. That's how they dump. So remember that when you pull your black handle and you dump that black tank, you're also dumping your toilet treatment. Dump your tank, close the valves, go back in, throw another toilet treatment in with about 1 gallon of water, and you're good to go. Another reason you don't want to leave these valves open to the sewer is because the sewer gases make their way back into the camper if you leave those valves open. Again, you can go ahead and hook the sewer hose up if you want to. Just leave the valves shut until they're about 2/3 full and then dump them. Dump them, shut them. All right? That's probably the biggest tangent I'll go on for the whole thing, because people do it and then they wonder why their camper smells like a porta potty. It's because you're leaving your valves open while it's hooked up to the sewer. All right, the stabilizers. You've got 4 of them, 2 on the back, 2 on the front. The stabilizers are just that. They are meant to stabilize, not level. When you level the camper, you're supposed to level side to side with your tires, unhook from your truck, and front to back with your tongue jack. The stabilizers are only intended to hit the ground, do another quarter turn once they hit the ground, and that's it. They are not meant to lift the camper. They're not strong enough to do that. The stabilizers will bend if you try to lift the camper trying to level it. Back in the day, I would venture to say back in the day, the stabilizers were made out of a much stronger metal, or steel for that matter, and they could handle it. And that's exactly how people leveled their camper. It's not like that anymore. They will bend, so just be aware of it. My suggestion is to always put something on the ground under the stabilizer. That way it doesn't sink into the ground. Like where we're at now, it's kind of grassy and muddy here and there. Those will sink into the ground. So if you put something down, like a board, it's going to keep that from happening. Every now and again, as you're camping, as people are walking around in there, these stabilizers are going to creep up a little bit on you. You're going to start to feel a little bit of shake in the camper again. Just come back out, tighten it up a little bit more, and you'll be good to go. All of these are going to come with a 30 amp cord. It's a detachable cord, so you're just going to hook it up there. And that's it. Your sewer hose can store in here. Both sides come off. This is the #1 thing that gets lost going down the road, are these bumper caps. Before you leave home, before you leave the campground, do your walk around and check and make sure that all your doors, your storage doors, are locked and that these bumper caps are on really good. Moving around, you have a spare tire. Flagstaff uses the Goodyear tires, so they're all the Goodyear tires, and it's not like a little donut or anything. It's an actual tire. You're also going to get roadside assistance free for 1 year through Forest River. It'll be on a sticker inside somewhere that you can call if anything happens, like a flat tire. They'll send somebody out. Right here, in this case, there is a receiver for a bike rack. It can hold 300 pounds. Just don't exceed that 300 pounds. It is connected to the frame. You don't want it to pull off up there. So 300 pounds is what that can do. All right. You have a storage here. The storage is bigger than it seems just looking at it. And over here is an access panel. This is where your water filter and your water pump is right here, right on the other side of this. So this is where all of the water operations happen. Please pay attention to the stickers. This is your city water connection. You're just going to pop that off. You're going to screw this onto the end of your drinking water hose. Please use a drinking water hose. The garden hoses hold bacteria, and the drinking water hose does not. So, plus, you know, when we were kids, we didn't care about the garden hose. We drink out of it all day long. As adults, it doesn't taste so great. Please make sure you're using a water regulator. I just had an incident where somebody was at Yogi Bear and they had extremely high water pressure, and they did not put their water regulator on, and it blew a line apart, and they were extremely upset. Yogi Bear, while it's a fantastic campground, they have high water pressure. If your neighbors aren't using their water, all of their water pressure is coming to you. Always use that. Do not skip that step. When it comes to the black tank flush, that's where this is. That's what I'm saying, read the stickers. Right here, it says tank flush on the top of it here. This one has a sticker that goes to it. Don't confuse the two. We've had people do that before. and it causes such a big mess as you can imagine. Here you have your antifreeze inlet. You don't have to go searching for your water pump, but in this case it wouldn't be much of a search. It's right here. But you can connect right here, the antifreeze. You put your hose here, can put the other end into an antifreeze bottle, and you go inside, turn on your pump, turn on your faucets. Once everything runs pink, you're done. You also have, behind this access panel, you also have a container for a water filter. So we provide you with the water filter and the wrench to take the water filter cartridge off. So you'd be able to dump the water out, but it is going to fill up with antifreeze. Just be aware of that. Take the filter out. You don't want the filter full of antifreeze. Here you have your cable and satellite. Pretty self-explanatory there. Okay, moving on. I don't have power hooked up to this, so I can't pull the awning out. I'm sorry about that. I completely walked off and forgot my battery box, but I wanted to get this video done. Here on this bar, you're going to be able to put your side table, and it comes with a griddle. All of that hooks up right here, and down here is the LP Quick Connect. Of course, it's going to come with an LP Quick Connect hose that goes with the griddle. All right, and you have just an outlet here. You can plug in a TV. That's what the cable's for. And this is to bring your TV outside. The other side of that TV mount is inside. It comes with the unit. You have your furnace. This is the exhaust. This piece of metal here, when the furnace is running, gets pretty dang hot. Don't touch it. Any little ones running around, hopefully they'll only touch it the one time. Learn a lesson. Don't put anything here that can melt. And I always recommend getting a screen. Around here, I'm not, not everybody has this issue, but around here anyway, right about this time of year, stink bugs. They love shiny and white, apparently, and they will pack themselves in there by the hundreds to hibernate. You can get these screens that you hook on, whether you get it here, go online, doesn't matter where you get it at, just get one. It hooks right on. You don't have to worry about taking it on and off. It stays on during travel, but that'll keep them out of there. It's about an $800 fix if stink bugs get in there, and it will ruin your furnace. Not to mention it stinks. Low point drains. When you winterize, you're going to uncap both of those and get all the water out of the lines prior to you running antifreeze through. And up here, you've got two speakers. Of course, your stereo speakers. That is for this right here. When you're cooking, they always want you to pop these open, turn the fan on when you're cooking, just to vent the steam out. You have a solid step here at the end of this video. I'll show you how easy it is to just pop those stairs right on up into the door. And, oh, something that I always forget. You can, of course, separate the screen door. And there you go. Now you have a screen. Get some fresh air in there. A day like today would be beautiful to do that. Right back here, you have a way to hold the door in place in case the wind does kick up. Okay, so this is just going to pop right on in there like that. It also pulls the door away from that awning arm. If the door is all the way back and you try to open the awning, it's going to get hung up on the door if the door's all the way back. You just want to make sure the door's out of the way, really, that's all. Moving in, I'm almost done, you guys. The outside's usually the longest. So here is something that it's going to be hard to show you stuff, again, because I don't have power, but this is super easy. So one of the things that you have is the Control Your RV with the WeRV app. Scan this, and you're going to be able to turn on lights, open your awning. If your unit has a slide out, you'll be able to open your slide from your phone. Very cool thing. Here we have, well, it's going to be hard to see, I think, with all the plastic on there. But anyway, in this case, it's digital. It's a digital read. This is a sensor. When you walk past it, the whole thing lights up. But it's going to tell you how full all of your tanks are. let's see, it's got your fresh, your black, and your gray. Over here is your battery. It's going to show you how charged up your battery is. You don't really know how charged your battery is until you're unplugged. If you're plugged in, it's always going to read fully charged. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's just your awning lights, your step lights. Your water pump is here. Your electric and propane for the water heater. You can do one or the other or both. If you do both electric and gas on your water heater, it'll recover about 16 gallons an hour if you use both. These also come with a Wi-Fi booster. So I think they call it the Wi-Fi Ranger. You push the button, turn it on. In some cases, it's a switch that you turn on, and others, it's a button that you push like this. It's going to boost your Wi-Fi signal at the campground. It will show up on other people's phone as being a booster. And the only way they're going to be able to connect to it is if you give them your password. That's the only way that's going to happen. I think, oh, tank heaters. All of these also have a tank heater. So all of your holding tanks, your fresh, your gray, your black, they all have a little heat pad on the bottom of the holding tanks to try and keep you from freezing up if it's going to be cold outside. Just turn those on if you're using your water. It is recommended to not use your water if the temperature is going to be 32 or below for more than like a day. It doesn't take much to freeze up your lines. Having tank heaters 100% helps. Having a covered and heated underbelly 100% helps. But the wind will always be what freezes you up. It's not always the temperature, it's that wind. Especially around here. It could be 40 degrees outside and 27 with the wind chill. Make sense? All right, moving on. Here we have your 3-top burner and your oven. Behind it, those slots there, that's a knife holder right here. Okay, so with this, please don't cook on this. This is only intended to give you extra counter space. It is not meant to be cooked on. Right, we had a few people do it, and now we have to tell everyone. So this, you're just going to fold back up. And now, what you would do under normal circumstances is you would simply turn this on here, and then click. And it will fire up. All right, do that all the way across. The oven can be a little bit trickier, but yeah, of course. I can't really show you. I'm so sorry about that. I should have thought about it before I come out here and doing this video. But the oven, really what you're going to do is you're going to push this in and hold it. You're going to line up that picture of the flame to the arrow. And as you're holding it, you're going to come over and that clicker. There's a pilot light underneath that's going to spark up. And it's going to take 4 or 5 turns of this clicker for the pilot light to light. Don't think that your oven's broke. It's not. It just is bleeding the air out of the line, and in some cases that coupler needs to get warmed up. Let that happen. Once the pilot light's lit, you hold that in for a few more seconds, let go, put it on temperature, and it'll fire right up. I know a lot of people, they expect it to turn on as quick as these up here do, and it's just not going to. Right? Just please don't think it's broke. That's the only thing. This does need to be down for travel. Again, I know that's common sense, but still have to say it. You have a cutting board and a place to drain your dishes here, of course. These should be put away for travel. They are very lightweight, which is a good thing, but when they're in the sink and you hit a big old bump, they could come flying out, and they're in here slamming around everywhere, breaking stuff up. No bueno, no good. Here is that refrigerator that everybody, nobody really has a good or bad opinion of yet because they haven't been out long enough for people to hate them or love them. It is an all-electric refrigerator. There's only a handful of manufacturers that are still doing the propane electric refrigerators. That's what has always been used in the past. Now, this has replaced that. The main reason, truth be told, the main reason is because these are a whole lot less expensive for you all and for the manufacturer, so they went to this. But they're a lot more efficient. honestly. They cool down within an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. They're cold. They hold their temperature a lot longer, and they will run going down the road. That was the number one point of contention for people. People were so used to running down the road with their propane on to keep their refrigerator running, they were afraid that when these came out, they were no longer going to be able to keep their food cold. That's not the case. The battery will keep this refrigerator running when you're plugged into your truck. I mean, your truck is providing power to the battery, and the battery is providing power to the refrigerator. Absolutely, you can run this going down the road. You're not even really using a bunch of battery power because your truck's the one doing the work. So these are really big, a whole lot bigger than the gas electric ones. Super easy to use. All you have to do is this on and off button here where it says set. To turn it on, you would simply push and hold that set button for 10 seconds. It'll light back up. Same thing when you go to turn it off. Push and hold for 10 seconds. When the lights go out, you're done. It has a travel lock. Make sure that's in the lock position for travel. But it also duals as a way to vent out your refrigerator when you're not using it. So you can push this that way, and now your doors are propped open. No mold or mildew in there. It's a pretty good little trick they did there. I thought it was anyway. So there's that. Down here is your converter. That's going to be where all your breakers and fuses are. With Flagstaff anyway, whenever a fuse blows, a little red light's going to come on next to it to let you know that that's the fuse that needs to be replaced. These are just regular automotive fuses. You don't have to go anywhere special to get them. Anywhere sells them. Moving on in here. The one thing about the bathroom that separates these guys from others, not all others, because some of these guys have gotten on board with it, is that shower miser. It's hard to explain it because I know I'm not explaining it right, but I'm going to do my best here. Number one, the doors are glass, okay? So make sure for travel that this is always locked. You don't want these doors slamming around while you're traveling. You will have a huge mess when you come in. Well, not to mention it comes off the tracks. This is a magnet holding the doors together. They do move, so they're not, oh my God, the magnets are always so strong. There we go, jeez. The strip that this is on, they're not glued on. So if one like slides off at the top or something, no worries, you can just slide it right back on. Okay, and even back here, these will do it too, and it's fine. The shower miser is that right here. That little blue, and then this is the lever that you would turn on and off. So the purpose of this was, well, is for if you're going to dry camp. When you dry camp, water is precious, right? You don't want to waste any water when you're dry camping. You want to try and be conservative with it as much as possible. Well, that's what this is for. You waste a lot of water in the shower waiting for hot water. So the idea here is you've got your water pump on. The water pump is providing you with water out of your fresh tank. It's pumping water out of your fresh tank. As soon as you turn the spigot on, it's going to do that. So you're going to turn on your hot water, and then you're going to put this in the up position. What it's doing, once you do that, that water is being drawn out of your fresh tank through the water heater and here. It's going back through here and redirecting back into the fresh tank. So it's not going, the water is not going into your gray tank. It's not going down the drain. It's going right back into your fresh tank. It's awesome. So when you have hot water, this blue piece will turn gray. Then when you see that that's gray, you now have hot water. You flip that back down. You've wasted no water. It all went right back into your fresh tank and got recycled through. I think it was a genius idea. Whoever thought of it, thank you. I know I probably didn't explain that very well, and it's actually a much better to see a demonstration of it, and I'm sorry that I don't have a demonstration of it. But that's the best way I can explain it. Here's your toilet. It's going to be a porcelain toilet. which is so nice to have. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal to some people, but for those of you that have had a all plastic toilet, you know that this is such a good thing. It's foot flush, halfway down, puts water in it, all the way flushes. Make sure for travel, the lid's down. You don't want water splashing around everywhere during travel. So you have a Max Air fan here, and you have another one here. The Max Air fans are going to become very important when it comes to these expandables. The expandables, in this case, there's 3 beds. This is the 183. It's got 3 beds in it, no slide out. It sleeps up to 10 people. It's awesome. I'm sorry, it sleeps up to 8 people. 10 if you really like each other and want to sleep 3 on a bed or something. Anyway, so these are in this position mainly because where I'm situated right now, I'm not really going to be able to pull these out. Plus, I can't do it by myself and show you guys at the same time. I don't have anyone to hold the camera for me. So the reason these fans are going to be important is when you go to pull these bad boys in. You're going to take the pole out. The bar is going to fall. You're going to fold the mattress over it. Then you're going to turn these fans on. That one and the one in the bathroom. You're going to go out and you're going to close the door. When you close the door, it creates an incredible vacuum in here. And it will suck this vinyl in. When you go to push the mattress, the bed up from outside, you will feel it pulling. So it's pulling and you're pushing. And it really helps. And it sucks that vinyl in. And you don't have to worry about walking around and tucking that vinyl in on 3 sides to make sure none of it's poking out. The fan's doing the work for you. I had a customer tell me about that about 7 years ago at the Hershey show. And let me tell you, I stopped what I was doing to go test it out. And dang if it didn't work. I was so happy about that. It was so hard. These were not an easy thing to do. But once I did that, game changer. Love it. If you guys want a video of that, let me know. I'm happy to do it. I'll just have to get somebody to help me film it because obviously I can't do it with one hand. One more thing. There's one more thing before I show you the table. These guys have really kept it simple, and I am so happy they did. This is your thermostat. It's not digital, none of that. It's old school. So here, you're going to push this over to cool. It's going to turn on the AC. You're going to push it on over to heat. It's going to turn on the heat. And here's your thermostat. You're going to put it on whatever temperature you want. Up here, because you have that solar panel on the roof, this is the controller for the solar panel. There's really not a whole lot for you to do here. The dealership should be setting this at the right battery type. It does matter. It has to be set to whatever battery you have on it. And we do that here. So no worries on that. Unless you know what you're doing, there's really nothing to do with the solar panel, with the controller. It's up there and that's it. Okay, so last thing right here is going to be this little black box. That is your LP detector. Be aware that the LP detector is intended to do that. It detects an LP leak and it's also CO protector. So the one thing that I always want people to remember is, number one, if that thing's going off and you all are in here sleeping, get out. There's a high probability that you have a propane leak or carbon monoxide. So get out, leave the door open, turn off the propane, start checking the lines and seeing where the leak's coming from. The one thing that people don't realize is just how sensitive they are. Any aerosol spray in the air will set that little thing off. And it's loud. If you guys have ever heard one of them, you know. But it sounds just like a smoke detector, just as loud. But if you have sprayed anything in the air, like hairspray, Febreze, Lysol, Pam, if you cook with Pam, it will set it off. So I always tell people, if that thing starts going off in the middle of the day, stop and think about what you or somebody else just did. Chances are that's why it's going off. Dog food, dry dog food will set it off. So just be aware of that. Don't freak out every time it goes off. There's a high probability that somebody has done something, sprayed something in the air to make it go off. but of course we put that smell in propane. We would most likely smell if there was a propane leak. Check the outside line. The line goes all the way, your LP line goes all the way around the frame of the camper. Mice and raccoon love the smell that we put in propane. They will chew through the line to get to it thinking there's food there. And then off they run when there's no food, and now you're stuck with a propane leak. All right, so just please keep all that in mind. The TV is also your, I believe in this case, the TV is also your stereo. Yeah, in this case it is. The Connect TV is also a stereo. There is a way to be able to watch TV and play music outside at the same time. It's just a setting that you have to do on there. Some of these have a TV and a separate stereo that also has a DVD player on it. So it all depends on what year you got. This is a 2023, so in this case it doesn't have a separate stereo and DVD player. It's an all-in-one situation with this. Over here, I think this is the last thing I have to talk about, I think. This is your dinette, of course. That table is in the down position because that's the position it has got to be in for travel. It's a freestanding table. Underneath here, it's a scissor stand-up table. The good part is that this table can go anywhere. You can scissor the legs up and you have your dinette table. Put it back down, you can make a bed, or you can fold it up and take it on outside and set it up out there. And then you just have two seats in here, you know, kind of like a little mini couch maybe. But do please always put this table down for travel because it's heavy and the movement in these are incredible. So when you're traveling, that has got to be down. You have blackout shades here. I love these new shades versus the accordion. These are nice. I like the accordion, but then these came out and I love them. So those, it doesn't really matter what position you put them in for travel, but they're just a really nice shade to have. Okay, and this is going to come with three, in this case, because you have 3 beds, it's going to come with heated mattresses, and it's also going to come with a fan and little light that hooks onto the pole to draw the AC in to your bed. It also provides that light. It comes with quite a few little goodies on this one. Real quick, I will show you, this is what's normally inside the door. If you guys wanted to stop and look at the video, if you want to stop the video and take a look at what all this says. I do love that Flagstaff / Rockwood, they are twins, by the way. The Rockwood Rue is the exact same thing as the Shamrock, different stickers. But all the stuff that they do, they're not all built the same. I mean, I know people want to say that they are, but they are not. So if you want, take a look at the standard stuff that comes with it already. Now there are some differences between the 2022s and the 2023s, but the changes are minimal, honestly. If you've picked out a Flagstaff or a Rockwood for that matter, you've done good. They're awesome, awesome units. Okay, you guys, I think that's it. I think that's all I got. I think the last thing I have here is going to be putting these steps up. I got to remember to undo this right here. We had to hold the door back. All right, so that goes down. We're going to open the door all the way. And then we're simply going to lift the steps from the bottom and up into it goes. And that's it. All right, now the other feature that this has, the legs, of course, are adjustable. You just push this in. You can adjust them on each side. And also, I've actually had to use this feature before, just trying to get the steps down. Sometimes we put our units way too close together and we cannot pull these steps down out of the door, like the camper next to us is way too close. So I've actually had to take these steps out before. These slide right out, come out on both sides, and you can pick the stairs up out of there and move them on out. Kind of a cool feature. I know why I use it. Why other people use it is totally a different reason, I'm sure. All right, so, and then the door just simply shuts, and there goes the handle. Okay, again, this is the 183. This happens to be the 2023 model. We're at Keystone RV Center, Greencastle, Pennsylvania. If you have any questions, you can give me a call at 800-232-3279. Just ask for Rebecca, and I'll be happy to help you out. All right, thanks so much for watching, you guys. See you later.